Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I actually found some more information on the C8 mid-engine Corvette that I found to be pretty interesting. So let's just get right into it. Okay, so this first picture here, obviously showing the cars getting around the ring pretty quick. Usually this particular dip in the Nürburgring, if the car is able to catch some air here, it is telling me two things. Number one, the car's going pretty fast. Number two, the car is pretty lightweight. I know with the Camaro ZL1 1LE, it was a big deal that car was able to catch air because of how heavy it is. So given some of the rumors I've been reading about the C8, it catching air like this is actually a pretty good sign, because as of right now, the most popular option for this car engine-wise, the most likely engine it's going to have, is likely to be the same LT1 out of the current C7 Stingray. So if this car is a V8 naturally aspirated LT1 out of the Stingray and it's able to catch air like that, odds are good this is a pretty lightweight car. Now, the second thing I see in this picture is a staggered wheel setup, which tells me we're obviously looking at a rear-wheel drive car here, but there had been a lot of popular rumors circulating that a all-wheel drive option was going to be available, or the car was just going to strictly be nothing but all-wheel drive. So this tells me that if all-wheel drive is an option, it will be just that, an option. It's not going to be something that's going to be forced on you. Now, at the same time, we are talking about likely the base model here, and it may not be an option for the base model, but either way, we're looking at a Corvette that is going to be rear-wheel drive and not all-wheel drive. So the second picture, I'm not necessarily showing anything specific to the car, but just a couple general observations. Number one, looks like it has tire warmers on the front tires, obviously for track use. It looks like something is leaking underneath the car, and that's what one of the guys is bent down looking at. And it's kind of interesting because if this is a mid-engine car, there's not a lot going on up in the front there. So my best guess would be this is some sort of coolant, brake fluid, something along those lines, something that would still have to be run to the front of the car. But the biggest takeaway from this picture is the guy standing there in the hoodie with a very clear Corvette emblem on it. There's also one standing by the driver's side door that the back of his shirt looks like it says Corvette. Now, there's been a lot of talk about whether or not this mid-engine car here is actually a Corvette or if it's a Cadillac. There had been a dual overhead cam Cadillac engine that was spy shotted or leaked recently that kind of started to push people to believe this might be a Cadillac. But given these two guys standing there with their Corvette shirts on, kind of more tells me that this is a Corvette and these guys are there as maybe part of the actual GM team for this car on the Nürburgring. And if they're wearing Corvette gear, odds are very good this is in fact a Corvette. Now, another interesting thing I've been reading recently is that Chevrolet has trademarked the name E-Ray. So kind of like Stingray without the sting, and it's just an E instead. And people are speculating that this E stands for electric. So there has been rumors that this car could possibly have a hybrid option as far as the engine goes. And if they're going with something like E-Ray, odds are very good that's exactly what it means. It's going to probably be the electric version of the base model Stingray, whatever they may call that. But as of now, the one we're seeing on the track is likely the base model Stingray equivalent, since there is a lot of rumor out there right now pointing to the fact that this first one's going to come out with the same 6.2 liter LT1 V8 that's in the Stingray currently. So if that car gets that engine and is the base model, odds are good the next one would be called an E-Ray with a hybrid option. It's kind of an interesting twist on it. It's definitely going to upset some of the purists out there, because the fact that the Corvette is going to have a hybrid option might not be on the top of people's okay list, but at the same time, to stay relevant, you got to do what you got to do. Now, obviously, it still remains unknown when Chevy plans on doing anything with this car as far as announcing it officially. Again, I've read a lot of rumors out there right now that seem to point heavily to the 2019 Detroit Auto Show. It seems like there's a good chance that's when they would release it, but a lot of people thought that same thing with the ZR1 Corvette whenever it first was being tested, and a lot of people thought that's when it would be announced, and it ended up going way overseas to be announced. So there's no guarantee, but it does seem like a safe bet considering that's where they have released a lot of the information on a lot of their previous cars. And that's the one that's coming up the soonest. With the way Chevy has recently taken the zebra cover off this car and allowed a lot more of it to be seen, it tells me that they plan on making an official announcement on this here pretty soon. So if I had to guess, the Detroit Auto Show definitely seems like a safe bet. Like I said, the model we're seeing right now is likely to be the base model. And as Chevy seems to do every time they release a new car, they always start with the base model, follow it up with, like the Z06, followed up with the ZR1. It usually comes a year later. So if I had to guess, we're going to get this base model. A year later, we'll get the Z06 or the equivalent. Year after that, probably the top dog, so to speak. Now, with that being said, there's a lot of rumors online stating, obviously, the hybrid engine option. That looks to be probably reserved for the Z06 or the ZR1 equivalent. And as of right now, a lot of what I'm reading points to those cars having a 5.5 liter V8 with a 200 horsepower electric engine also attached at the front. So basically you would have the 5.5 liter V8 pumping out 600-700 horsepower because it's going to be also twin turboed, and then the extra 200 horsepower electric engine in the front, which would equate to roughly close to 1,000 horsepower. Now that to me seems a little over the top. Not necessarily impossible, but it does seem like a little much for this car. So I'm not 100% sure I buy that, but I definitely see Chevy playing with the idea of a hybrid engine. They have Chevy has come out more than once and stated their opinion on the whole hybrid option. They definitely want this to be the future, and obviously they put a lot of money and a lot of time into their the Chevy Volt, and so the idea of hybrid or electric technology is nothing new to them. Plus, if they go with some sort of hybrid option or possibly fully electric, the idea of the overheating issues that they've suffered with some of the C7s could be a thing of the past. It makes it a little bit easier for them to design a nice looking car if they don't have to incorporate functional air vents here, there, and everywhere to make sure the car stays cool. So the idea of hybrid or fully electric definitely helps them in that aspect as well. One of the more recent leaks I've been reading states specifically that there is going to be an 8-speed dual clutch gearbox. That would be impressive. Dual clutch is very quick shifting, and from what I heard on the Nürburgring when it was racing around that track, it did sound like it was shifting pretty quick. Again, I'm hearing no manual option, and with every leak, it seems like we're getting closer and closer to the truth, but the manual option is always said to be no from every leak I've heard so far. So if that's not an option, that sucks, but at the same time, 8-speed dual clutch gearbox, it's going to be pretty quick. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's upload. I just saw some of this information online. I thought it would be great to share with you. But if you liked it, go ahead and give me a big thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, shoot them down in the comments section below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and subscribe. I'd love to have you as part of the Horsepower Obsessed community. And as always, guys, I'll catch you in the next upload.